Hello, hello, hello. I'm Dwania and welcome to my channel, Canadian Small Business Woman. And
Oh, Brooke Gordon, so excited to be here with you.
and guess what we're doing?
Okay, we're not going to leave you in suspense. This is the unofficial review of the CEO Club on Prime Video.
Yeah. When we saw this, I can tell you now, I'm a lover of reality television and I love a program review. So this was like the perfect match. We can talk about some CEOs. We can break down their leadership moments, some of the tough decisions they had to make, some of the wins, some of the misses, and all the things that happened in between.
Yeah.
What else are we going to break down?
Oh, we are bringing in the lessons that every entrepreneur should be paying attention to.
Yeah. I mean, we might do a little bit of surface level commentary, but we're also going to talk business. We're going to try to pull this apart. It's going to be a fun review. If you all are watching it, please make sure that you are commenting. We want you to be a part of the conversation. And if you're not watching it, you should.
Yeah, because we're here for the strategy, the mindset, the CEO level experience.
Everything. Yeah. So we want to unpack it. Let's unpack it. Now,
Right.
before we even dive right in, I think a lot of you know me because you know my channel and you subscribe to my channel, right? But if you are new here, I'm the founder of Canadian Small Business Women. We've been around for about 13 years, helping many entrepreneurs across Canada. My favorite things to do, I love strategy and I love hosting amazing events. Now, I want Brooke to tell you a bit about her.
I am so honored to be with you here, my friend. So my name is Brooke Gordon, and I have been an entrepreneur, an advisor, a mentor, all in the business sphere. My background is more on the HR and operations side before I got into business strategy. And so this is like right up my alley. I don't watch as much video as you do, but these are the types of books that I read. So I am like thrilled to be watching this like in real time with real dynamic and conversation.
Now you see the balance. She reads a lot of books. I watch a lot of television. So this is about to be interesting. Now, before we even get into the meat and potatoes of everything, I am going to implore you to like this video and subscribe to our channel and share this with other entrepreneurs who should be watching the CEO Club on Prime, okay? They should be paying us for this. I know it's the unofficial review, but we're talking about it. Why not pay us for it? Right?
Oh, we have a lot to talk about.
Okay. We want to introduce you to the cast. Let us start with the woman who really needs no introduction, but she will get one anyway because she is the queen who she says she is. So she is the longest ranked #1 tennis player. She has won 23 career Grand Slams, making her the most successful female player in the Open era and the most prized WTA player of all time. Now, since stepping away from the court in August of 2022, Serena has focused on new opportunities, including entrepreneurship and investing. Her venture capital firm, Serena Ventures, focuses on investing in women and founders of color. She served as executive producer for the critically acclaimed 2021 film King Richard and the soccer documentary Copa 71. In 2023, she introduced 926 Productions, and that's a multimedia production company that aims to elevate female and diverse voices through content, including the ESPN docuseries In the Arena, Serena Williams, an upcoming Netflix series adaptation of Taylor Jenkins Reid's Carrie Soto is Back. Oh, I'm interested to find out more about that. Serena's the author of a children's book, The Adventures of Kai Kai, and will publish her memoir in 2026. That's this year. You can learn more about her in The GOAT, Serena. It's a 12-episode podcast hosted by tennis stars Zina Garrison and Shanda Rubin. Now, before we go into the next intro, I have to tell you that these bios were pulled from Audible because they're individual interviews with the cast there. So, Brooke, can you introduce who will be our next person?
Okay, let us talk about Winnie Harlow, who is a Canadian supermodel, yeah, beauty entrepreneur, and on-screen talent. So she was diagnosed with vitiligo, which I hadn't heard of before. She was only age 4. And Harlow took her experiences with childhood bullying as a call to showcase diversity in beauty. She's graced the covers of Vogue, Harper's Bazaar, Elle, and more, and is the global ambassador for Paul Mitchell. She has appeared in TV's Making the Cut, Beyonce's Lemonade music video, and Marvel's Disney Plus series Eyes of Wakanda, where she's the voice of Noni. In 2022, Winnie launched her skincare brand, K Skin, which develops look good, feel good formulas for all skin tones, types, and conditions. And Harlow is only one of 12 women of color to receive funding in excess of $1 million as a founder. And she aims to raise voices and awareness for other female founders of color through the success of K Skin. Simply Winnie, her children's book, is about a spunky, stylish little girl who learns what makes her stand out, makes her special.
Oh, Winnie, we love us some Winnie. Yes, we do.
Huh?
So the next person on the cast is Hannah Bronfman. Now, she is the multi-hyphenative creative entrepreneur and trusted voice in ushering the wellness conversation into the digital age. She's a mother of 2, and she is a strong advocate for women on the journey towards and through parenthood. With her husband, Brendan Follis, she co-hosts the popular series Family Meetings and her newsletter, Hannah's List, where she shares recommendations and thoughts across a range of wellness and family-related topics. She has more than 40,000 subscribers on Substack. That's amazing. With a degree in fine arts from Bard College, Hannah has built an enterprise spanning wellness, music, style, and motherhood.
Love it.
So the next person.
Oh, I am so excited to introduce you to Lauren Ridinger. So this is a successful entrepreneur, best-selling author, motivational speaker, and influential businesswoman. She's the CEO of Market America Worldwide, a global e-commerce company she co-founded with her late husband, JR. Lauren has helped revolutionize online retail, while helping thousands achieve financial independence. She's known for her passion for personal development and influential presence in beauty, business, and entrepreneurship. What I love, Lauren is committed philanthropist who supports Make-A-Wish, breast cancer research, and other initiatives that uplift women and children.
Now, the next person only goes by one name. And if you are a lover of like Latin music like I am, you better know the queen of Latin pop, Thalia, okay? She is a multi-platinum singer, songwriter, businesswoman, author, fashion designer, and influencer. She is recognized as the queen of Latin pop with more than 40 million records sold around the world, as well as Mexico's most famous telenovela actress. Alongside her iconic music career, Thalia has launched a successful shoe line from Macy's.com, a home goods collection, a line of pajamas and intimate apparel available at Burlington stores. Most recently, she launched her new Thalia Sodi fragrance. It's a collection with Yanbal. Beyond her art, Thalia is a national activist for the March of Dimes and is the Mexico Goodwill Ambassador for UNICEF. She also supports several foundations, including the Robin Hood Foundation and St. Jude's Children's Research Hospital. Amazing. Next person is
Ocleppo-Hilfiger. She's a former model turned designer, entrepreneur, and also a philanthropist. Her passion for textiles, craftsmanship, and design evolved into her namesake brand, Ocleppo, which includes her apparel line, Do by D Ocleppo. She is also the designer behind Mrs. H, a curated line of lifestyle enhancing home goods available exclusively through QVC. And Dee and her husband, who many of you know, the renowned designer Tommy Hilfiger, released their 2025 book, Hilfiger Homes, offering an intimate look inside their most distinctive residences. The couple also has an ownership stake in Judith Lieber, where Dee serves as creative director and co-owner. And Dee supports a wide range of philanthropic causes, including autism awareness, breast cancer research, and AIDS advocacy.
Okay, and the last person to round out the cast is Isabella Rangel Grootman, and she is a global philanthropist, clothing and jewelry designer, creative brand ambassador, model, style influencer, and mother. All the hyphens, right? She's born and raised in Brazil, and she started modeling at age 14, traveling the world to shoot campaigns for brands such as Stuart Weitzman, Adidas, and L'Oreal. In 2016, she married the innovator, investor, and hospitality entrepreneur David Grootman, and serves as an advisor for his Groot Hospitality Group, which includes hotels, restaurants, and nightclubs. She's the founder of the clothing line Wrangle, a premium direct-to-consumer label with a focus on sustainability, and the fine jewelry label Isa Grootman. A passionate philanthropist, Isabella serves as vice president of Style Saves, a nonprofit organization that helps children and families with basic everyday needs. So now that we know the cast of characters, can we talk about the show? Episode 1.
I'm going to sneeze, so give me 1 sec.
That's you. We have to let Brooke sneeze, and I'll talk, because episode 1, I was really excited to start getting to meet these ladies, right? And it started with Serena.
Mm-hmm.
So she's one of the executive producers on the show as well. So she's going to be woven. She might be the glue that's holding everyone together, pretty much.
Yeah. She is for sure. What I love, can I jump in?
Yes. Let's talk.
So things that I love about how we start meeting her is she's sitting there talking about how normal she is. She's talking about Taco Tuesdays and Pasta Mondays, and she's like the class mom for her daughter's like elementary school class. And she says this really powerful comment. We're going to get into title later, but she gets into this really beautiful comment that says, I didn't used to have boundaries, and now I can do anything as long as it fits in my schedule.
Exactly. Yeah. I do remember, because the opening scene is her, and then she's in a party, and, you're surrounded by opulence. Mm-hmm. And she's talking about just being a mom. And I feel at least with her story, it's about the pivot. I am done being this high-performing athlete. Now, what do I do? That's how I felt about that whole Serena component, because I feel like every woman, there's a storyline that we're going to have to follow with them, right? And I think hers is going to be the balance of motherhood, having a business, and not being an athlete anymore.
Yeah. Of the things that I wrote down, it's so funny. I was started taking notes because I love quotes. And one of them that just really stood out is she talks about how when you change your perspective, you can shift from things being really stressful to being able to cope. And the shift that she does in her perspective is she sees pressure not as a source of stress, but as a privilege. And then later I realized that was the name of the episode. Pressure is a privilege. And I think it really stood out for me as you talk about that pivot, is that was probably a perspective that helped her when she was such a high performance athlete, that stress was something that she was, not necessarily choosing, but something she had access to the type of stress that she was in. And she's brought that with her out of the sports world, competitive sports, and into her everyday as a mom, as a businesswoman.
Yeah, pressure is a privilege was something that I took away as well. And it is going to make me start shifting when I feel pressure. And I need to think of, why am I privileged to be in this position to feel the pressure and how
Mhm.
can I make the most of it? I enjoyed seeing her off the court because the first thing you think of is Serena on the court. And I also enjoyed seeing how she's putting together this business. Now, all these ladies that we're going to see, they have incredible teams behind them, right? So you're never just seeing one person doing the work. She is recording her TikTok, but there are 4 or 5 people around her. Someone doing her hair, someone laying out all the products, someone giving her direction, all the things. So, in watching this show, one of the first things that I thought of was, how is it that people who don't have a team can relate? What are they going to bring to the show that's going to make someone like myself relate to them being a CEO?
You know what it did for me? Because I also made a note of that. I'm like, oh, isn't this interesting? The behind the scenes of her recording a video with like a team of like 20 people at her home. And they've designed the shoot. They're helping her film the shoot, right? She's not setting her up her own ring light. She's got people everywhere. And as she does this, she gets this really terrible, she's live, she's recording, and she gets this nervous giggle and says, oh, I'm nervous on camera. And then she says, someone pass me a Laffy Taffy so I can settle my nerves. And she starts like chewing candy, like this beautiful athletic woman who is just like, no, this is like my vice, right? And I immediately was like, okay, there's so much there. She's revealing like a connection between the emotion and the sugar and the chewing, right? So she's got like this nervousness and this sugar rush and this habit. She's got nervousness on camera when that's been her whole life. And
Yeah.
we're going to see that a couple times come up in this episode. And then although she has a team, the team's at her home.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And the Laffy Taffy part really did get me because there were a few times she mentioned it, because I don't know if you remember the viral moment where last year she was trying on these skinny jeans skirt and it couldn't get up above her butt. And she's like, okay, she's going to have to go on a diet. And then one of the scenes that we saw was when it was the next viral moment where she put on the skirt and it fit. And she said, I'm like one Laffy Taffy away from this not fitting. So she loves a Laffy Taffy, which I don't like. So I don't understand. It just tastes like it's just plastic.
I know, Skittles like hurts my tongue. It's like got like a weird, uncomfortable sweetness. But how beautifully normal, right?
Right.
Here's this like person where we're thinking, oh my gosh, I have to sacrifice all these things. And she gets into this beautiful conversation about how what's important for her is she's active. Like she doesn't really talk about a workout as much as she talks about just being active.
Yeah. And that's the thread with her business, right? Because
Yeah.
it's not just makeup. It's makeup that you can be active in, because then she brought it back to, when she was growing up and playing tennis on the court and not looking like everyone else. And she wanted to bring fashion into everything they did. I remember outside of the CEO Club, and she was talking about beads when she was doing braids, because her and her sister would always have beads in their hair, because that was them being fashionable, because they couldn't be fashionable with their outfits until she decided to be fashionable with her outfits. So
Yeah. And I love that continues. There was something else, we're talking about sort of her on the court, off the court. She talks about how there's a different skill that she had when she was in tennis, but she starts talking about not being afraid of the unknown.
mm-hmm.
And I loved that, because we oftentimes as entrepreneurs, how many hats do we wear? And we don't know what we're doing. We don't know how to do this, but we do know how to learn. We do know how not to be afraid of what we don't know.
Mm-hmm.
And we know intuitively that we can always find the question that's going to move us forward by finding the person to help us answer that question.
That's the finding the right people around you, the team that they've built around them. Oh my gosh. That was a good opening to the show, I have to say. And anyone, if you've watched it, please, can you rate the show? Like if you're giving episode 1 a rating out of 10, we're not going to rate it yet, Brooke. We're going to wait until the end of this video to rate it. But if you are rating it in the chat, tell us your rating. So what was the next scene that we got to see? So it started with Serena.
Yeah, I believe.
then?
I think it jumps to Issa.
Isabella, yes.
Yeah. So and I love, she also, so many things come out of this because she kind of introduces herself, right? She defines herself. And I want to talk a little bit about how they all define themselves, but she talks about how she's the mother of 2 girls and she's been modeling since she was 12. And then she starts talking about like what she had, like what she's done in business. So she's got this beautiful Wrangle, the sustainable clothing. She makes her own jewelry. And I find that whole piece just, at first I wasn't, she almost comes across as like, just not polished isn't the right word, but there's, compared to Serena, who is like so open, there's a reservedness there.
Yes.
Makes sense?
Yes.
Into that too.
Seems like she does not want the spotlight at all.
Yes. And that comes up a couple of times.
Her jewelry, though, is also quite beautiful.
Gorgeous.
Quite beautiful. And she does talk about, because, you know, I have to say, sometimes when I hear people launching a jewelry line, I'm like, okay, what's going to be so different about this? Really? Like a necklace is a necklace is a necklace. When you have a whole bunch of diamonds going around it, how can you make it different? But they did touch into some of her design process, and it was really cool to see. And where she has her store, Miami Design District, money. That's all I can say, money.
And hyper fine attention to detail. Like she's looking at each case and she's like, the light, that light is not equal across. And just this like literal hyper fine, the white gloves literally come out when they're touching the jewelry. And that happens a couple times. You know, when she's laying things out, there's like this beauty, everything is about protecting these jewels. And I found that really interesting.
And she's had famous people wear her pieces. And I think in this scene, was it Winnie that was coming to get jewelry from her? Yes. So this is the first time we see Winnie. And she is coming in to be dressed for, what's the fashion awards? I forgot the name of it.
Couple of Fashion Designers of America. So the CFDA that's happening in New York. Yes. And okay, things that I loved. I love how Serena, when we meet her, we're slowly getting to know her. With Winnie and Isabella, you're really connecting in on that friendship piece. And the thing that I loved was she starts talking about this nervousness to be in the spotlight. And, you know, oh my gosh, and what would I do? And there are going to be people and they're going to be taking pictures of me. And in my mind, I'm thinking, but you were a model. Like, this is what you did. And like, you're used to having people take photos of you, but you start to realize that they weren't taking pictures of her. She was modeling. They were taking pictures of what she was wearing. And now they're taking pictures of her, and you see this shift. And Winnie right away is like, let's practice. Like click, 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 and like pretending. And she like covers her face and hides. And she's like, no, do not hide and cover your face. And it really jumped out to me because how often have we talked about the importance of like, not role playing per se, but like practicing and just take a moment to practice it. And here are 2 highly influential models, and they're practicing together, and the one is coaching the other.
Yeah. So no matter what level you're at, there's still that level of practice makes perfect. And she might not be perfect, but she'll be better than she was without practice. And it's nice to, yes, like you said, out of the blue, Winnie is just like squatting down and being a photographer. And that was cool to see that bond and the support because, you know, they're supporting each other. Winnie's going to wear her jewelry. And you know, she is going to be at the awards and she needs to showcase herself and her jewelry as well.
Mm-hmm. And
yeah, that was kind of cool.
It was really adorable, and I love how they, if I can, so the story sort of jumps a little bit when we come back to this at the later on in the episode, and she's flown to New York to deliver the jewels. And even then she's still freaking out. She's like, I don't want to be in the spotlight. Like, I'm not okay. And in that moment, I realized that's when I had the, oh my goodness, before she was wearing the design as a model, this is her own work. And I was thinking, how often do entrepreneurs, we get this sudden, like, we can hype up our girlfriend, no problem. But as soon as you start trying to make a sale, and all of a sudden you're like, and I can't speak about myself.
It's the truth. It is the truth. When I had my event last month and I was doing the fireside chat with Minister Richie Valdez, and we were talking about hyping and, like, you know, everyone needs to talk about themselves like their girlfriends would talk about them. That's really how you need to do it. Just go, what would my girlfriend say? And then that's what you say about yourself, because you know your girlfriend is hyping you up. So it's the same in this instance. And at that event, she looked stunning.
Oh my gosh. They both did. Like,
her
gorgeous.
dress. Like, guys, it was like this brownish copper dress, like this, and then it had this huge
collar kind of up, and then it almost created a frame for her. I think, were they emeralds? They were gorgeous.
I don't even remember. I just saw sparkles.
Well, they were green sparkles, and as they walk in and they're sort of getting guided to their seats, one of the volunteer organizers says, "Oh, I love your necklace." And doesn't she like melt on the spot? And it's like, she likes my necklace. Of course she did. It's gorgeous. But that self-doubt, like, how many times do we see that at every, like, just to see it at that level, someone who has a store in the Miami, like, fashion
district. Yeah.
And then here we are, like, having the same experience as entrepreneurs at our level.
Yeah. So they do make that connection. And I'm happy, because at first I'm like, what are we going to learn from these people who have all these teams and who have money? You know, what are we going to learn? But we are learning things. So after we met Isabella, then we met Lauren.
They flesh out Winnie a little bit more.
Yes.
So we spend a little bit more time with Winnie, but not until, at first it was sort of quiet. And then Winnie comes back in again later with a little bit more about the rest of her outfit.
Yes, because that's when we met the designer, and that is, what is her name again?
I don't remember. I thought it started with Kate.
No. The designer is...
Okay, you sit.
I don't remember the name of the designer. We apologize.
Designer. We'll look it up and we'll drop it in the show notes.
Yeah, and if you remember, drop it in the comments, everyone. Drop it in the comments. We don't remember the name of the designer, but Winnie dressed kind of like Cinderella.
And with her own, so it's all small touches. So she's got a glass purse instead of a glass slipper. And the first thing she says is, I can put my lip gloss in there. There is nothing in this glass purse except her own brand of lip gloss, which I'm like, this is brilliant. She's showcasing, she's wearing, the fact that she chose to wear her outfit and her jewels specifically to showcase the friends that she has, and then the way to bring her own brand in with what she's wearing. I really found that so uplifting.
Yes.
This idea of bringing in other designers and using her influence and her budget to support them.
Yes, because she did say she was very selective about who she chooses to wear anytime she does events. And I do appreciate that, because if we have the platform, we do need to showcase others and share it with others, but it's a matter of who. Because yes, she can make a phone call and get an outfit from whatever famous designer she wants. She's Winnie Harlow, but she made the decision to support the others around her. So I really like that.
Yeah, and specifically, she starts talking about who she's wearing is really wearing all female, right? And I love that, because what if I again, I wrote down a lot of quotes, but this one really touched me because she said, if I allowed the no's to hold me back, it doesn't fulfill my mission of inclusivity in the industry and not sacrificing health for beauty.
Yes. I do remember the not sacrificing health for beauty, and I thought that was very important. Yes. Yes. Was this the moment where she told her story of, because everyone might have watched 2 episodes. Was this the moment where she talked? No, I don't think this is when we got her full or a good section of her package, because the packages don't come out for everyone in the first episode. So as you can see, we had Serena's full package, we had Isabella's package,
Mhm.
and we're about to now get Lauren's package.
Yes. And it's so beautiful. It starts with her and Serena remembering how they met.
Yes,
And
their origin story. Bang bang.
oh my God, I love it. And I love that it was at a party, right? Not surprisingly, Michael Jackson's and a pair of pants is involved. And it's 22 years later, and they're still giggling over how they met because of the ridiculousness of it. And you start to pick up a little bit of Serena's personality as well, that she's a bit of an instigator.
Yes. Yes. And wait, they're having this conversation on a luxury yacht in Miami, just an FYI. We're going to see a lot of homes in the series because I can tell you, we saw 3 of Lauren's homes in 1 episode.
We did. And it's funny because I took note of the fact that in Dee's bio, she has the Hilfiger homes, right? And literally they created a book to talk about the design of all their homes. And here we are, and it's like Lauren's yacht, Lauren's apartment in New York City, Lauren's huge house in Connecticut. And then she's like, yeah, my husband bought me this estate for my birthday.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah. But I do love Lauren's thread too, because so it's not just about a pivot for Lauren. It's about handling adversity because she's going through grief while also having to take over a company. And Brooke and I can speak to going through something while running a company because we are both breast cancer conquerors, ass kickers, all the things. That's who we are. And we had to do this while going through running our own businesses. So it really did touch home when I saw Serena having the conversation with Lauren. And also in her confessional, when she said, Lauren hasn't grieved yet.
Mm-hmm. It's been 2 years.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, some of the things she said that I really stood out. There was some structural things, and I'm going to put those aside just as a mental pin for myself. But the things that she talked about that I think were really, really powerful. So her husband, it becomes clear that her husband named her CEO in his will.
Yes.
And this was not her choice. And I immediately thought how real this risk is for family-owned businesses. So it took them 32 years to build the business.
Mm-hmm.
The team was led by her husband. And there were 2 things that really stood out. Her nervousness to step in as the leader, because she was always beside him and she wants to make him proud.
Yeah.
And the pressure that she puts on herself to do that is intense.
Yeah.
Intense.
There were a lot of tears in this episode because it's just a lot of the, this episode is also leading into the fact that in a week or so, she has their huge convention. So Market America, I'm trying to describe what Market America is in a nutshell. They're like the kings of MLM. It's like out of box businesses for various products and services. And you can imagine it is huge. And yes, she feels the pressure. And you can see her wearing the pressure, but she also is feeling the pressure of making her husband proud, but also all the people who she has to support.
Mm-hmm.
Right? All the business owners who've been using Market America are looking to her for direction.
Mhm.
So yeah, it was, and it was also really good to see, was it the marketing, I don't know if it was a marketing manager, the guy who she says is now her right-hand man because that was her husband's right-hand man.
Christian. Oh, and he's really lovely. And he appears to be one of the few people she'll cry in front of.
Yes, and he seems like he was trying to hold back tears every single time.
Mm-hmm. And she says a couple of things that really stood out for me. They don't see the pressure it takes to do this. And by do this, she means not cry.
Yeah.
Right. And she talks a couple times, and it'll come up later in another episode, but she talks about, I'm brokenhearted and I can't let, like, the pressure is, I need to be strong. I need to make sure that the company looks whole and intact, even though I'm not.
Yes. Imagine you are cracked. You're missing a very big part of yourself, but you have to present whole.
Yeah. And she talks about how mad she is, right? She's mad that she has to do this. She just
Mhm.
wants to, like, crawl into bed and grieve and not do this, and she doesn't. And it leads to this intense self-doubt. And it reminded me of this lovely woman that I once met. She here in Ontario, she and her husband had just built their dream custom home. And it was on one of the lakes. It's stunning, like stunning. And they have never even lived in it yet, because they put it up for sale because he's had a major health crisis and is completely incapacitated. And I think of, here's this family. He's worked so hard. She stood by him. They're planning for retirement. This was like the first step towards him stepping down, and he's essentially dying, and she's now trying to sell their dream house. And
Mm.
it just made it really real. This isn't I can empathize with her, with Lauren's grief. This was, I've met a family going through this before, and
Yeah.
and I've heard of other women who've gone through this, where they've, in her case, she grew up the business with her husband. She was part of the senior leadership team. But she reported to her husband, and now suddenly everyone's reporting to her. And what a difference it is as an entrepreneur when you are the employee and you are responsible for so much, but you're not accountable. And that's so different.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh my gosh. That I really did feel Lauren's story. I think at the beginning when they were, just talking in the boat, I'm like, okay, where is this leading to? Where is this leading to? But I felt her story. And I am looking forward to how this goes for her at the end of the series, because that was such a strong opening for her. Right?
Yeah.
And then when I'm looking at overall in terms of the entertainment factor of the episode, I'm not going to say it was super entertaining, but it was super, like, it grabbed you. Their stories really grabbed you and makes you want to know more. So yeah, like,
Yeah, it was really emotional. And it's interesting because you and I talk often about systems for business. Like, where does this tie back to entrepreneurs, and how important systems can be? And one of the things about systems is that ability to let the business run while you take the break, and its ability to keep running without you. And so part of it was, her husband had a succession plan, and it was her.
mhm.
And she remembers the times when he said, let's go away, let's just go on vacation. And she said, I can't, I'm too busy. And she says, I didn't know it had an expiration. And I'm like, choked up. Right. And because I know so many of the small business women that you and I know, and have engaged with, where that is the thing. I'm too busy. I can't take the rest that I need.
And this is the lesson that we need to pull from it, because taking the rest that you need is important before you are given that eternal rest. And so, the balance, and I say this with quotes of it all, but we have to learn to put ourselves first. And we have to plan for how our business is going to run when we don't want to have to deal with it, when we want that break. Because when we take a break, it needs to be a break. Go on holiday without your computer, go on holiday and shut off. You need to take that break. You need to have something in place to make sure your business is operating when you are not at 100%, or when you're at 100% and you just want a break. And also the succession planning of it all. Whatever it is, if it's a person you're putting in place, they need to be prepared.
Yeah. And I think it really speaks, even though we're talking about like, how do these contexts come back? And even with Serena and with Winnie, we were talking about them early. Serena talks about the fact that she doesn't do sports beauty. She does active beauty. And Winnie talks about how you're not sacrificing health for beauty, but it extends even beyond.
Yeah. Yeah. Can I go back to Serena for one other thing? I love her branding, because all you think of is tennis when you see it.
There's so many amazing things that she does.
Yeah.
And she talks about friendship so deeply in this, right? Because we think of tennis and we think of her and her sister. And the clear love that the two, competitiveness, but also love that the two of them had. And she talks about how there are two types of friends: the ones who are always there versus the ones who hold you up when you need them the most. And she said the cost of success was not being able to keep my friends. But she's the friend who will hold you up when you need them, but she's not always there.
Yes. And I am sure that's going to shift for her now.
I hope so. And I felt coming away from this that even though she wasn't in each of the segments, she's appears to be part of the glue. And there's an element of, I felt like this was a celebration of those friendships, the ones that she has held on to.
Yeah.
And that was part of it. And this is clearly not her full circle, but this is the circle of CEOs that are really important to her. And this was going to be a celebration of that. And that was the impression that I took from episode 1.
Definitely. Episode 1 was really good. I did enjoy it. Like, if you're supposed to rate it out of 10, what's your rating and why?
I knew you were going to ask. I struggle with ratings because, for those of you who don't know me, I was trained as a physicist and an engineer first, so like numbers are and I was also a professor, and so I'm like, oh, I don't know, is this really above an 80%? So I'm gonna go with 8.5, because it's like a good solid. Yeah, it's a good solid B plus, but I don't know that it was necessarily like an A plus plus.
I was gonna go with an 8.
Okay.
Because I do like the fact that we got packages for 3 of the women, but we did get to meet 5 or 4? 4.
We met 4.
So we met 4. I think maybe because of my expectations, because I watch a lot of shows, I would think that the first episode would be something where the entire group would be a part of it. And you can see the entire group interact, but you still only get those packages for the 3. It's fine, but I wanted to see the full group. I wouldn't say I was entertained, but they grabbed me. They did grab me. And I did constantly think, how does this relate to the regular person? So it had me asking questions, and it did give me some answers. So I think an 8, and I'm looking forward to the other episodes. So everyone, please make sure you're dropping your ratings in the comments. And I feel like there was another thing I wanted to say about this episode, aside from the ratings. I don't remember.
Well, you know what? You and I are coming back for episode 2.
Yes.
And it'll come to you, and then we'll fill you in on what it was then.
I remember.
Okay, good.
A part of the reason too why I gave it a high 8 is because thank you for actually having a diverse cast. Like, holy crap. Like, I did not want to see Serena and all white women around her. Like, you have a blend of a little bit of most things. I appreciate that. And then you have an athletes versus models age group as well, because you have people who might be 50 something, almost 60, and someone who's a couple who are in early 30s. So I appreciate that. Thank you very much. All right. Off my soapbox.
No, I'm hearing you, because it had many dimensions. Every person came with different dimensions of who they are and how they define themselves. And in fact, let's end on this, because I had wanted to raise something about how they call themselves. So when we read the bios, I also looked up the description of each one of the women specifically on Prime Video and how they're described there. And the cast is, so there's Talia, who is the queen of Latin pop, and that's consistent. There's Serena, who gets described as a legendary athlete and businesswoman. Yeah, right. You have Winnie, who's supermodel, beauty entrepreneur, and founder of K-Skin. Hannah, who's the founder of Contour Capital and a wellness expert. Lauren, who is Market America CEO. Isabella, who's the founder, CEO, and designer of ISA Groupman Jewelry and Range. And then you have Dee, who's former model and fashion designer. And how many times have you and I had conversations with entrepreneurs where it's like, I don't know, what is the title I should give myself? What do I put on LinkedIn? Am I the CEO? Am I a founder? Am I the president? Like, this idea of title. And here we have a businesswoman, an entrepreneur, and an expert. We have two of them who see themselves as founders, and then another two who see themselves as a designer. And then we have two of them who see themselves as a CEO. And just that breadth of title that they've leaned into personally really stood out for me on how it's obvious. Some of them are like, well, I'm a little of everything. And then you have someone like Sarita who's like, I'm a businesswoman.
Yeah. You can have as many hyphens as you want. You can describe yourself however you want. And yeah, that's that.
I know. Well, even I had to look up with Hannah. I'd never heard of a multi-hyphenate, which is a person, especially a celebrity, with some professions or skills. And I'm like, yeah, okay.
Yeah. Let's get our hyphens together, Brooke.
I love hyphens, my love.
Yes. So are we going to catch you in the next episode? I hope so.
This is our take on this episode of the CEO Club.
Yes. And now we definitely want to hear from you. What did you think? Did you agree with our take? And if you don't agree, that's fine. You're allowed to have your own opinions around here. Put them in the comments, because we will be responding. What would you have done differently than some of these ladies?
Yes. And I know, Dwania, you said it before. Please subscribe, turn on your notifications so you don't miss the next unofficial review.
Yes, because the boardroom conversations don't stop when the cameras are out.
I know. And we'll see you in the next episode.
Bye.